Blessings. How's it going, family? All right. So, within our Queen's Empowerment, we dove into the power of patience and presence. And honestly, the gathering lasted within online for over 2 hours. And I wanted to make sure that I go ahead and give you a bit more information on it. Because even though we jumped into some amazing juiciness and realizations, I would like to pinpoint a bit more on the areas of business, a little bit more than what we have. Because as shared within the gathering, it's a lot sitting within the root and how it brings up a lot of areas within our life. And one of the areas that I'm going to focus more on in this video is more on the business, on the mission, on your medicine, on your purpose. So I have a list here, so you'll see me looking down. So one of the things that came up, and how does patience and presence show up within the shift of your mission, of your work, of your offerings expanding, and how can you bring this extension of your work within the current clientele you have. Now, we acknowledge and recognize that our work, our mission is beyond us, right? It's beyond of what our mind is putting together. It is what spirit is driving us to do. And so when we come into that space on what we're being driven into and what we're being pulled to do, this is something that, this is where us trusting that pull. And of course, what's amazing of especially having souls that are also on this journey with you, friends, family, that you're able to share what it is that you are currently expanding within your work. Like, hey, currently in the space of wanting to offer this, extending my work into this area. I'm feeling pulled to extend my work into this area. And before even sharing, you share it with your fellow sisters, A good percentage of people will have either a group that they work with, also people that work with mentors and coaches. So all of those are completely, definitely something that is there to keep in mind. And because we're recognizing that we're growing and we're evolving. We're not just one level, right? So when we keep that in mind, we keep it in mind that, okay, who are the souls that has expanded and evolved from their work? And, actually connecting with someone that has a few steps ahead of you, right? So, and then that would be able to assist you of, okay, how can I take these next steps? And I share this piece because what's been amazing is that I've had the opportunity to hold and facilitate and also actually mainly work under amazing teachers and work beside amazing teachers, work with amazing owners and business owners within a lot of different businesses. I'm grateful that one of the areas that has been my title because of my experience in the past has been manager. And I had the opportunity to manage not just a law firm and not just a warehouse, which we're talking about over 17 years ago, but also a school, a holistic school, a holistic center, a yoga center, and a bathhouse and a therapeutic center. So I'm grateful to have learned and go into that field, and also as a practitioner, is that it gave me the opportunity to learn and expand that. So that's why a lot of the things that I bring in within the offerings of the women's empowerment is everything that I've experienced, and then also I'm continuing to learn. So I do have my mentors and my coaches that I continue to learn, and my teachers, because this is an ongoing learning journey, right? So you definitely have souls within your community that has advanced, and connecting and reaching out to them, and because they also have put in a lot of energy to learn. So you can even bring it up like, hey sis, I know you've gone this far within your journey. Perhaps there's something that you can assist me in, or maybe there's an exchange. That's also honoring the energy exchange. So it's really important to recognize that, because within our work and within our mission is that energy exchange needs to be honored. So how does this apply within patience and presence? Is being patient within yourself. Being patient within your offerings. Being patient of knowing that your offerings is going to continue to evolve and grow and unveil and show itself, and trusting it. Because I know sometimes as soon as we get a vision, we want to go ahead and jump into it. And that's where, as soon as our vision comes in, we bring our attention and our presence into it. So, one of the certain words that caught my attention was that the question or the concern was of having people taking one a little bit more serious, taking their offerings more seriously, of their expanding of their work. And that comes into oneself. And how patient are you through this process of your own growing? How serious are you in witnessing yourself and being present with yourself as you witness yourself grow? So this is where, we look in and we shift the tables, and we look at ourselves of how seriously are we taking ourselves in this journey. So I can offer more insight on this, as I can see. But I want to go ahead and move into another area, which is kind of similar to a few sisters that mentioned about, keeping in mind the ego jumping in. And what I had to do was, making sure that the ego is not being built. Being built through wanting to make that next step within leadership. And this is true, right? A good percentage of us bash the ego. And, that's for me, when I've learned as far as the ego, it's like, oh, there goes the ego, and I have my moments as well as recognizing that. But the truth is that our ego is just that shadow. And this is where we need to bring presence and light within that shadow, within that ego that's showing up. And so the area that came forward that was requesting more insight was like, making sure that that we're not jumping into our ego within this next step in our journey of being called into leadership. What's beautiful is that when we even bring to our awareness of noticing, oh, this is the ego showing up, that's where you take a moment to just step back and really see, okay, I'm being pulled into this. How is this position really showing up within my inner world? And knowing that this area was brought up twice within leadership, how is leadership showing up within your inner world, within your inner journey, within yourself? Leadership is amazing, beautiful, and powerful, and serious role. And it's also recognizing that you're always going to be a student through this position. And honestly, we are all leaders here, very uniquely. You know, there's not just one form of leadership. We see leadership within a family of not just the father, but also the mother. You know, we see leadership within the facilitation of holding space and witnessing. Again, these are very unique ways of how leadership is showing. It's not just one way. But specifically with this, it is recognizing that if you notice your ego jumping in, humbling yourself and just being curious of like, okay, how present and grounded am I within my leadership, within my inner world? And what are the things that I know I can bring forward at this time and I can share, knowing I've been growing within this area? So, and that's a, another area that can be expanded in. And then that touches base within the flow through inconsistency. And also within coming into one's power and feeling that sense of not being acknowledged, of one's worth not being acknowledged. And I may not be phrasing it exactly, but I'm going to bring forward the piece of, as I shared earlier, that we're constantly evolving. Consistency does play a big piece within our journey, but it plays it very uniquely again. Because we bring into presence, we bring into our space, we bring into our practice, our rituals of honoring ourselves. A few months back, within the rebirth of a queen, we dove into the layers of the body, and then we also, if you're familiar with the full moon self-care gatherings that is offered also once a month, this month, we dove into the layers of body through self-care. And when we come into our power, we're not always going to stay in it because we're constantly breaking through shells. We're constantly moving up. And so we're going to feel off balance. And that's where it's going to remind us like, oh, I got to, work that next level muscle, right? So that's where you give yourself that chance to like, okay, I'm finding myself in this place. What brought me there? So the journey of curiosity is really important. And so seeing the beauty of coming into your power, but then also seeing the blessing of when you feel off of it, when you don't feel as grounded in it, because it's giving you an opportunity to be curious and to learn more of what has taken you off and what has brought you into an unbalanced place where now you are needing to learn how to balance within it. And so another area is this actually touches into the expansion of one's practice and how it's growing, and how it's also plays a piece within one's own embodying their own personal power. And so I want to speak to this on a lot of the artists, especially because this had to do about unlocking the deeper layers of one's purpose. When we feel that strong calling and we follow that, we have to recognize that we're tapping into that deep-rooted calling. And that deep-rooted calling is nice and deep in the roots. But if we look at the roots of a tree, of a plant, it's not just one root, right? It expands. And in order for it to actually feel grounded before it can grow its trunk or its stem, it has to have that expansion of its roots. And the reason why I bring this up is because those roots represents, and I'm going to speak with the artists, those roots represents that vibration that you're feeling called in. So in like singing artists, that vibration, like you are already tapping into vibration. So what else has assisted your vibration? What else has assisted you within your healing, within your growth, within your realizations, that has helped you to come back into your roots and ground you? So that right there is where I would like to make sure that you keep in mind. And what's beautiful is that, you know, one of the sisters, you know, definitely this is mentioning like bringing in sound bowls, vibration, right? But then also, how is it that shows up within the medicine offerings? And your purpose, your mission is medicine to the world. So how is it bringing in that expansion of your work? And it can go further from offering from singing bowls to offering someone to tap into their voice through singing. Like, can you hear your voice? Can you hear you sing? You know, and then that expands even further. Communication, expression, tapping into how an artist is even taps into those writings, that creative writing, that free flow writing. So when we tap into our roots, we have to recognize that our roots is not just one. It expands so it can get grounded within the earth. In our last gathering, we dove into planting seeds of power, and we spoke about the soil. What is the soil? How is the nutrients within your soil? How are you making sure you are grounding within these areas as you plant these seeds of your work and your mission? And what are the seeds that have been planted some time ago and that has been watered, or perhaps it hasn't been watered for some time? And so yes, you know, it's definitely something, all of that I have shared blends together and comes back to being empowered, comes back into a space of you knowing that you are not on this journey alone, and recognizing that surrounding yourself, connecting with souls that are also in a very similar journey of growth, and recognizing that you are a unique soul, an unrepeatable medicine soul queen being, meaning there's no one like you. And so when we connect with others that are also in a mission, on a journey of wanting to be embodied and wanting to connect with themselves and wanting to ground and wanting to show up and wanting to be on a mission and wanting to heal and wanting to grow, you know, then you are around souls that are aiming for the vibration of growth, not in a space of stuckness, stillness. Growth doesn't happen through just words and vision. Growth happens through our actions and our follow through. And so I share this from a space of knowing of my own journey, that growth is not easy. And we're going to be breaking through many shells, breaking through many ancestral imbalances. And this is a journey that we have to recognize. It's our sole purpose is to grow. And as we grow, we heal. As we heal, we learn. As we learn, we embody. And we also are in our power. So thank you so much, my beautiful soul family, beautiful souls that are on this journey of growth. And know and trust that you are not on this journey alone. So many blessings, and I'll connect with you soon. Peace.